Hey, this is Mrs. Gervasio with a quick little tutorial about rounding. Okay, there are many different ways to round, but first let's go ahead and talk about rounding to a specific place. For example, if we were to round 54 to the tens column, well, what that really is saying, if you were to look at a number line and break it down by the tens, which tens would 54 be closest to? Would it be closest to 50 or would it be closest to 60? So you have 50, 51, 52, 53, 54 is right here. So is it going to be closest to 50 or is it going to be closer to 60? So you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to get from 50 or 54 to 50, and then you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get from 54 to 60. So clearly 50 is closer to 54 than 60. Now, once you understand that number line concept, there's an easier way to go about it. It says round to the tens. So you go ahead and you put a line underneath the tens column because that's one tiny, tiny meaning tens. So you underline the tens and then you put an arrow to the number that's just to the right of it. In this case, it's 4. And you ask yourself, is the 4 5 and up? So 4 is actually not 5 and up, it's lower than 5. So the 5 stays the same and the 4 actually turns into a 0. And I'm sure you recognize that 50 from when we did the timeline. Okay, let's look at a larger number, 352, rounded to the, let's say, rounded to the tens again. So we're rounding to the tens. So again, we're rounding to the tens, so we are breaking our number line down by tens. So I will start at 350 and I'll go up to the next tens, which is 360. So I have 350, 351, 352. So here is 352. And now I need to see which tens 352 is closest to. So is it closest to 350, 360? So I have 1, 2. It's 2 away from 350, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away from 360. So clearly 352 rounded to the tens is closest to 350. Okay, and once again, once you understand how that number line concept works, you can go ahead and do it the easier way. We are rounding to the tens, so that's one tiny, tiny means tens, so you underline the tens column and you have an arrow to the number that's to the right. In this case, it's a 2. You ask yourself, is a 2 5 and up? And it is not. So the 5 stays the same and the 2 turns into a 0, but don't forget to bring down the 3. So our answer again is 350. Okay, if we want to look at the same number, 352, and in this time round it to the hundreds place, you do the same thing. One tiny hamster, hamster being the hundreds, you underline the place value that you want, and you put an arrow to the right. So you ask yourself, is the 5 5 and up? Yes, it is. So what do you do to the 3? You move up to the next number, which is 4, and then you, instead of the 5, you turn that into a 0, and you do the same thing to the 2, you turn that into a 0. So our answer is 400. Another way you might hear about rounding is rounding to the largest place value. And so our largest place value, let's see, you have one tiny hamster thanked. So our largest place value is the thousands, which is the 5. So all you have to do is underline the thousands place, the 5. You put an arrow to the right of it, which is 6. And you ask yourself, is a 6 5 and up? Yes, it is. So what do you do with the 5? You go up to the next number, which is 6. And then everything else turns into 0, 0, 0. So your answer is 5,678 rounded to the largest place value is 6,000. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a couple practice problems. Let's say 7,892 rounded to the nearest 100 column. So go ahead and pause me and figure it out. And hopefully you've already figured it out and you've come back. And so you go to the nearest, so you go to the hundreds. So you have the one tiny hamster. Hamster is hundreds. You underline the hundreds, put an arrow to the right, ask yourself, is the 9 5 and up? Yes, it is. So you turn the 8 into the next number, which is 9. You bring, instead of the 9 down, you bring a 0. Instead of the 2 down, you bring a 0. And now you just bring the 7 down. So your answer is 7,900. Okay, let's do another practice problem. Let's say 6,842 rounded to the thousands column. So go ahead and pause me and figure it out. And hopefully you've already paused it and you've come back and you have an answer for me. You have one tiny hamster thanked. So we're looking for the thousands column, which is a 6. So you underline the 6, you put an arrow to the 8. You ask yourself, is the 8 5 and up? Yes, it is. So you move the 6 up to a 7. And instead of an 8, you write 0, 0, 0. Your answer is 7,000. Okay, another practice problem. Let's go ahead and round 83,621 to the thousands place. Go ahead and pause me and figure it out. And hopefully you've already paused me and you've come back and you have an answer for me. So we're rounding 83,621 to the thousands place. So you have one tiny hamster thanked. There you go. There's your thousands. So you underline the 3. You put an arrow to the 6. You ask yourself, is a 6 5 and up? Yes, it is. So you bump the 3 up to a 4. And you have 0, 0, 0. But don't, oh, that was a really sloppy 0. But don't forget to bring down that 8. That's a problem that a lot of students make, is they forget to bring down all the other numbers to the left. So our answer is 84,000. Okay, this is the last practice problem, and it's a tricky one. So you're going to need to put your thinking caps on. Let's go ahead and round 99,962 to the hundreds column. Go ahead and pause me and figure it out. And hopefully you've paused me and you've already have an answer and you're coming back. So I said to the hundreds column. So you have one tiny hamster, hamster being the hundreds. So you underline the hundreds, the 9. You put an arrow to the 6. You ask yourself, is this 6, 5, and up? Yes, it is. So that means you need to move the 9 up to the next number, which is a 10. And then most of my children right now will be saying, uh-oh, you can't do that. You actually will need to regroup and carry that 1 over here to the next 9. But then you have the same problem. You can't have the 10, two numbers in one place value column. So you have to regroup again and do that over there. So now you're having the same problem. And that would be 10. So again, you're going to have to take that 1 and bring it into the next column. And so you would have, that would be a 1, that would be a 0 because we already moved that. This would be a 0 because we already regrouped that. This would be a 0 because we already regrouped that. And then these two numbers would also be zeros. 1, 2, 3, comma. So our answer would be 100,000. So if you got that one right, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. That was a super tricky one. But I know that everyone will keep working on rounding. And don't give up. Be determined, and you can do it. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.